Yo, what is good, Jets Nation? Welcome back to another Jets Media live stream. I've been pretty active all day today, and now we got two special guests. You guys know them. They were on the channel. I think it was during OTAs. It is NYJ Mike, NYJ Matt. The two go to Twitter. They got a podcast, and I linked that all down below in the description. So starting off with you, Mike, how you doing today? You excited to talk Jets or what?
Dude, we're feeling good. The season is upon us. Sunday, we're going to have some drinks, have some wings, watch the Jets beat the Panthers, and get ahead of ourselves in the playoff conversation.
Let's go. Speak that into existence, baby. How about you, Matt? What are you doing today, bro?
Yeah, I mean, I can't believe we already made it. I was thinking back to Twitter. People were like 82 days from, the start of the season. They put a picture of Crowder up, and then you blink, and it's like, all right, 4 days until the season, right? The whole summer flew by, but I'm ready to go, man. We deserve a new, fresh look, and we finally have that coming with this new roster. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, man, there's a lot of exciting things coming out of the Jets right now. We found out who are the 5 captains, and apparently there'll be a 6th one every week that the coaches about. So we're going to get right into it, guys. Everybody in the chat, shout out to everybody. Jets, mess. What's good, bro? What's up, Zachary? Jersey Dolphins. What is up, everybody? Welcome into the stream. Make sure you guys check out these two guys down below in the description. Their podcast is doing phenomenal, and their Twitters are linked down below. But you guys already know who they are, am I right? And we got some people tuning in on Twitter as well. So shout out to you guys tuning in on Twitter and YouTube at the same time. It is great to be with you here on this beautiful Wednesday evening. We got NFL football tomorrow, but what matters the most is the Jets-Panthers game on Sunday. So before we preview the Jets and Panthers games, I want to hear your guys' thoughts about the Jets team captains. We found out that Zach Wilson, as a rookie quarterback, is indeed a captain, along with Corey Davis on the offense. And on defense, we got Foley Fatukasi, CJ Mosley representing us on that side of the ball. And then special teams, we get Justin Hardy. So, Mike, what was your reaction when you found out who the 5 captains are?
Oh, it was great. I think the Jets did a really good job. The players voted on the captains, and Marcus May is the only guy I'm surprised not to see on that list. But if you want to go CJ Mosley and Foley anchoring down the defensive line, I'm fine with that. Justin Hardy. And another good thing about the captains is Joe Douglas signed 2 of these guys in free agency. So you bring in Corey Davis, you bring in Justin Hardy. These guys make immediate impacts as captains of the football team. And another thing is that Zach Wilson, people are like, this guy's he's an entitled dude. He has too many garages, blah, blah, blah. He's not going to get along with the teammates. Bang, week 1, captain, C on the chest. Couldn't be better.
I know, man. I feel like a lot of Jets fans are excited about this. I know Matt was intrigued to see who was going to wear the C on his chest. I saw that your tweet the other day. So what was your reaction, Matt, when you found out who the 5 captains are for the Jets?
I mean, I love it. And I'm thinking in the future, all right, Zach Wilson will get that gold C on his chest a year earlier than most anticipated, because you don't usually see a rookie quarterback coming in year 1 getting it, but I'm glad he did. I honestly believe if he didn't wear a headband in college, he would not be talked about with character concerns. I don't know why, because people grow up with good money. People grow up in nice houses, and a lot of quarterbacks do. But for some reason, he wore a headband, and everyone thought he had character concerns. So I love it. I'm most happy for Foley. I think Foley is a type of guy who through down years just played his role and played it well. He's a good dude. Good head on his shoulders. You never hear anything about Foley Fatukasi having a problem. So I'm thrilled that he is going to be a captain. And then Marcus May, I get why it happened. There's been a weird offseason of he'll tweet out an emoji after a trade. And he's a great player. He's a great guy. He's a good leader. But, I mean, Mosley coming back, and they gave the other one to Foley, so you can't have 3 on defense. I'm fine with the move, and I'm looking forward to having those guys, especially Zach Wilson, have a C on his chest.
Yeah, that's definitely the biggest thing that the Jets fans are worried about. Or not worried, but it's definitely something to talk about, that Marcus May was a team captain last year. He played every single game and was definitely the best player on the Jets secondary for sure. And he is not named the team captain. And remember, guys, for those guys that don't know in the chat, who vote, the people that vote in the captains are indeed the players. So it's not like the coaches are, granting the captain. It's not like the fans or random executives. It's the players, the teammates. They voted in. So first of all, that's a really good news for Zach Wilson in particular, that his teammates already have confidence in a 22-year-old rookie to wear the C on the chest, because what that represents is people can go up to you as a captain and a leader, and it's not common for a rookie quarterback to be named captain. I'm pretty sure this is the first in Jets history. I know that Sam Darnold was not. I don't think Mark Sanchez was. I don't think any of our rookie quarterbacks was a captain coming out of the gate as a rookie. So this is a really big testament for him. It tells us that Zach Wilson is getting along with everybody right away. And it also tells you that the offensive guys and the defensive guys and the special teams guys are looking at Zach Wilson and saying, you know what? We have a lot of trust in you. And Corey Davis said in the press conference today that they would not have voted for Zach Wilson if he was not ready to be a leader. And that tells you a lot, because it's not like they're just handing it to him like, all right, this is our quarterback, and I guess he has to be our captain because, he's playing the QB position. But everybody actually made the right decision in saying, okay, I have trust in Zach Wilson because he has the leadership qualities, and we believe that he is the guy. And also, Foldi Fatukasi, what I noticed from him is he looks like the hype man. He looks like the guy that's always in the huddle before games, hyping people up. And I feel like that's why the Jets players wanted to give him that C on his chest as well, because, Steve McLennan was type of that guy, the veteran presence. I also think Carl Lawson would have been voted a captain if he did not go down with an injury. So that is interesting. So that's really it for the team captains. You guys have anything else you want to talk about before we move on to the next topic about this one?
Maybe Marcus May had the LeBron effect where you can't win MVP every year. So he can't be captain last year and this year, so they'll give it to someone else. I think you're right. Carl Lawson would have been the captain, and that would have made 3 out of the 5 captains. Joe Douglas brought in via free agency, and 4 out of 5 would have been new players in the Jets, including Zach Wilson.
And one more thing on the Marcus May one. If you look at the 2020 Jets defense, who would you have given it to anyway, right? If you look at it, right, you leave Jamal Adams leaves via trades. So you look at Marcus May and you're like, he was an asshole. Now this is your team, your defense to lead. Mosley opted out, right? Are you going to give it to Harvey Lange? Quinnen was year 2. Pierre Desir, Bright, right? You can't give it to any of those guys. I think one guy people brought up was Quinnen. I think Quinnen's very comfortable in his role. He's a fun-go-lucky guy. I don't know if you're considering him to be the guy that is always going to be the big voice in the locker room. So I'm fine. I'm fine with it.
The problem is exactly. There's Quinnen. Once he got rid of his braces, he would be eligible to be a team captain. But last year, it happened in the middle of the year.
That's a good point. I think it's a rule in the NFL. You can't have braces and be a team captain. So he got them removed just to be a team captain. But maybe next year for Quinnen, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, Quinnen brings a different style of leadership. It's just I can listen to Quinnen Williams talk all day. His press conferences are comedy. I don't know why. I just find it so funny. Everything he says he has this like personality to him that you just gravitate towards. You love Quinnen, right? And we also heard from Sam Darnold today, literally a couple of minutes ago, and he had a perfect opportunity to throw the Jets under the bus. He was asked about, your time with the Jets, the Jets did not surround you with talent. They did not do this. They did not do that. So reflect on your time with the Jets. And he actually said, I just did not play it to my best abilities. He had a perfect opportunity to completely throw the Jets under the bus saying, they did not surround me with the coaching. They did not surround me with this. They did not surround me with that. But instead he took it like a champ and it said, it's all on me. And you guys know me. I've always been a Sam Darnold guy. Mike, I know you are, and Matt as well. And I'm rooting for Sam outside of week 1, obviously. And it just shows that he is genuine, a good person. And I'm interested to see what he can do. It's very unfortunate that we have to go up against him week 1 because I was really intrigued to see what we can what's Sam going to look like week 1. I'm excited, but now I'm not excited because I have to witness that first close and personal. We have to watch our ex go up against our new girlfriend. That's going to be crazy. So, Mike, what's your thoughts on that Sam Darnold quote?
No, look, Sam is a stand-up guy, and Matt said this all the time in our podcast. He would go on the Michael K show. They would ask him the same questions that he was asked today. And every single time he would say, it doesn't, it's on me. I got to be better. We're just working together as a team. We're going to move forwards, blah, blah, blah. He's just the kind of guy he is. He's not a scumbag. It will make it easy to root for him the rest of the year, especially if the Jets win week 1.
Matt, what's your thoughts of that Sam Darnold quote?
Yeah, I mean, I've been very vocal on Twitter about it. There's a narrative that's starting to form that Darnold didn't take ownership for what happened, and it's unbelievable too because after 2019, right, 2 years go by, 2019 ends. There's a lot of optimism. I would say over 90% of people thought Darnold was the guy. 2020 was garbage, right? 2020 was the worst year ever. And, you have to move on from quarterback. I understood why they did it, but there's a weird narrative that Jet fans are rooting for him to fail. And if you're rooting for him to fail because of the draft pick, I get it. I completely get it. If then you tweet out like Ghost Boy and Mono Boy, it's like, dude, that was your guy that you backed up for 2 to 3 years. Even though he sucked in year 3 and you move off him, which I totally get, I don't understand the constant hate going his way. Again, he goes on the Michael K show every Monday, took ownership for everything, and Adam Gase sat there for 2 years and did absolutely nothing. So I give him a world of credit. He had a ton of pressure on him, and he handled it well. The narrative on Twitter, I'm lucky enough, and you guys are too. At least we can tweet about to our platform what we think about it. I think this weird Ghost Boy and Mono thing, it's just not the way I would go about it. If you want him to be terrible because of the draft pick, all good. If you want to be terrible because you're mad that the Jets 2020 was a disaster, I don't know. I don't put all the blame on him.
Dude, it's like if you dated like a very cute, like nice girl who was just sweet. She didn't cheat on you. She didn't do anything. You had a very civil breakup. And then 2 months later, you're like, she's a slut. She's like a minute, whatever. It's like for no reason. Leave the guy alone. He was nothing but good to us. He was an ascending guy who had the entire fan base in unison rooting for him that he was our guy after 2 years. If you ask any Jet fan, Sam Darnold is our franchise quarterback. Fans were very excited for him. Things changed in 2020. Now people get a little bitter. Shouldn't be.
I do have one more quick take on it. I'm also in the boat of we don't have to talk about Darnold, right? If Darnold goes out there and throws for 4 touchdowns in week 3, for example, if you quote tweet and say we shouldn't have moved off Darnold, this is stupid.
That's stupid too.
That's idiotic. But I also looked on Twitter in the preseason game and everyone was tweeting how bad Darnold was playing. I looked at his stats. He was like 19 for 23 with 2 touchdowns. Like, are we going to do this all week? Because the same people that say, stop talking about all the positives, Darnold, move on, then tweet about like a pick he throws. So it will probably alleviate over the year and 2 years and 3 years. But God, this constant reminder of people tweeting about it. I'm fine with just my take of he was a good dude, move on, wish him nothing but the best. I hope we get a better draft pick. But I think the Darnold narrative hopefully will end soon because it keeps getting brought up. And again, I don't understand the people that say don't talk about him, then talk about him as well.
Yeah, I agree with everything you guys said. I really see all these things on Twitter, bashing him. What's the point of bashing him? He did everything he could for us. He wore it on his sleeve, and we all know the disaster that he was in. So I'm really curious to see what he can do in Carolina, but unfortunately is indeed against the Jets, and we have an emotional game. There's a lot at stake here. There's not the division's not on the stake, playoffs. It's not like a Buffalo Bills week 1 that we have to suffer through for 3 years straight. It felt like this is like different, guys. This is an emotional game. Sam said in the interview he's not taking it personal, but deep down he wants to. And the Jets have a lot to prove. Like the entire NFL is looking at this game. Like outside of us as Jets fans, outside of Panthers fans, even though this game is not nationally broadcasted because it's on at 1 o'clock, everybody in the NFL is going to be tuning in because it is Zach Wilson versus Sam Darnold, the guy that replaced Sam. Like, this is just a crazy matchup. The NFL knows what they're doing. It's going to be, must watch. I'm going to be in attendance. I'm flying into Charlotte Saturday, and I'm going to be there Sunday with my dad, and we're going to sit right behind the Jets sideline. Hopefully I don't get, too rowdy because I got to contain myself since we're in enemy territory. But let's just get into this, guys. Jets-Panthers preview. There's a lot to dissect, whether it's Zach Wilson versus Sam Darnold, whether it's the game plan defensively against Christian McCaffrey, whether it's our defensive line going up against their offensive line, because that's our advantage. And then I think their advantage would be their wide receivers against our cornerback. So, we can dissect this game to a T. So what do you want to talk about first, Mike, when it comes to this Jets-Panthers game?
It's just all the uncertainty around the Jets. You don't know what their identity is going to be. You don't know on offense. They're starting like 7 rookies. They came out yesterday or today. Saleh came out and said that Nasruddin and Sherwood are going to start. So how many rookies is that? I mean, if Michael Carter starts, or maybe even if the other Michael Carter starts in the slot, you have like 6 or 7 guys that are in their first year. And then you have Bryce Hall and Guidry as their number in the second year. Denzel Mims. There's a ton of young talent on the Jets. if some of these guys pan out, man, this is a real recipe for the Jets to become like a Super Bowl contender very fast. But for this game, I'm so curious to see how the Jets are going to run their offense. I want to see if they can play with a lead, if they can run the ball effectively. The Jets' offensive line looks like it's going to be really good in terms of run blocking, especially if Moses starts with AVT and Becton on the left side. And then you have Zach Wilson. I think the Jets are going to be much better on offense this year than they've been in years past, and probably a little worse on defense. The obvious two matchups, like you said, are the Jets' defensive line versus scanty Panthers' offensive line. I don't even know if scanty is a word. And then on defense, the Jets' corners trying to cover Robbie Anderson, DJ Moore, and Terrence Marshall. So Ed McCaffrey, like that's a sick offense other than the offensive line. So ton of storylines. I'm super curious to see if the Jets can establish an identity that they never had with Adam Gase.
Yeah, man, there's a lot to dissect with this. I love that. So, Matt, what's your thoughts about the Jets-Panthers preview? What's your emotions feeling like right now? What do you?
Yeah, I mean, I hope they went 52-0. I hope Darnold gets lit up, right? That's the fact.
Yes.
I'm looking at this game. I think it's been talked about a lot, but right, the Panthers O-line is nothing special with John Miller now out with COVID. The Jets interior D-line can be disruptive. What I want to have the football. So my biggest fear is that the Panthers go out there and they have like a 7-8 minute drive to start the game and get a touchdown, right? At that point, Wilson doesn't have the ball for half a quarter. There's games like that, and I think I have like abuse from the Adam Gase era.
PTSD.
Right. We never had the football. And these teams would have these killer drives, and we couldn't run our offense because we were trying to get back into the game. Right. I want the football. I want to win time of possession. I want to run plays and see our offense play well. And how we get the football is we have to have stops on defense and third down. Now, our corners against the Panthers receiving core is a terrifying matchup. But again, you have young guys and you're doing this whole youth movement. Very good at corner. You also are very young at edge. So that is another terrifying spot. So we have to get better. We have to have the football. And I wish I could fast forward to 1 o'clock right now and just enjoy the game, because I can't believe we have to wait 3 more days to get there.
I don't care at all about the next 3 days. The next 3 days don't matter at all. I would cut these days out of my life. Like if you said I died whenever I die, but 3 days earlier, fine. Like that's totally fine. Because who cares when I'm like 80?
Thinking about this game is getting me so excited, and it's crazy. Shout out to everybody in the chat. We got a really great subscriber here. What's up, brother Rich? Gentlemen, Jets fan since 1975. I've seen my share of quarterbacks here. I have nothing against Sam, but I'm not cheering for him. Against us, I'm rooting against him. He is the enemy.
Agreed.
Indeed, he is. He
Agreed.
is the enemy week 1. I agree with everything you said.
52-0. I hope he throws 5 interceptions. We win, and then he can do whatever after the game.
75, man. He's no Matt Robinson. That's tough times.
He's been a Jets fan for a while. I got a lot of subscribers that are telling me that they suffer through it all, and I'm like, wow, and my dad as well, obviously. And we are younger Jets fans, so we've never really witnessed that. We started watching them. When did you guys start watching the Jets?
2006, 2007. It was
Pennington?
Pennington was the guy, and then I really was like 2007 is the year I became sentient with Jets football.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw Kellen Clemens was the guy, and then you had Favre, and then Sanchez is like my dude. That's who I fucking love. Can I curse?
Yeah,
that's who I love. I won't curse again, but just in case, I feel bad I said it. But I mean, like if you don't like, but that's the thing. When Sanchez left the Jets and he was on the Eagles, I was fired up for that game. Like I remember we went to our buddy's house for a Monday Night Football game, Eagles like Cowboys, and like Sanchez, let's go, man. But if Sanchez playing the Jets, like fuck him. That's it.
Yeah, man. We got Zach Wilson to worry about now, and not saying we should worry about him, but the Jets quarterback carousel, it's legit. We all thought Sam was the guy, and now we're all hopeful. This entire fan base really believes in Zach Wilson. I really do. I think the entire Jets fan base does as well. He's being talked around by the NFL media already. We hear Tony Romo comparing him to Mahomes. We hear the hype. That scares me. I don't really like Tony Romo saying that.
Romo said similar things about Darnold too.
Just about to say that, Mike. Was literally just about to say that because I heard so many things about Sam from guys like Tony Romo and all these guys in the media that sold me on him even more. I'm like, oh my God, Tony Romo talking about his spatial awareness.
He might still be right though, Like
about
Darnold.
He's not wrong. He's not proven wrong yet. But what's your guys' thoughts of Zach Wilson being talked around and the hype around him? Because Zach got asked about it today, in the press conference, like, how do you handle Tony Romo saying this, this, and that? And he's like, he's saving even keel. He's not listening to that. He's focusing on what he can focus on. Shout out to your pup. I love that. So what's your guys' thoughts of Zach Wilson being like hyped up right now in the media? We'll start off with you on this one, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, I trust a quarterback's evaluation more than my own or some random guy on Twitter. That's the fact, right? And a lot of these quarterbacks who retired, they'll make these big claims to get, if you're hitting on one of them, then people start listening to you in the future. You hear a lot of good stuff. The comparisons with Mahomes, I think, is only because he throws the ball hard and far. The comparison with Aaron Rodgers is he does a little bit of off-platform.
And
I think all he can be is Zach Wilson, right? It's all he can do. As long as he is not turning the ball over often, he's getting his reads done, he's confident. The coolest thing was Rich Cimini's article that he walked in and stayed 4 hours late, and him and Salah just talked about football until 11 o'clock at night. Like, I don't think that would ever happen with Adam Gase and a player. I don't think that would happen with Todd Bowles and Darnold in his rookie year, right? I just don't think that same chemistry would have happened. I'm happy that he's even quoted in these great players, but obviously we'll wait and see what he does on the field. He handled it well. Every press conference has been great. I'm telling you, the only thing is he wears a headband, and that's why people don't like him. Even like the Colin Cowards of the world, they were high on him until he went to the Jets. And I get that the Jets are a 2-14 team trying to get together here, and they lost their number one edge rusher. So you can't put everything on Wilson this year, but you just want to see him go out there, be a good quarterback, and he looked good in the preseason against twos, and we'll get going here in week one.
Is this guy talking about Phil Simms?
Yeah, Phil Simms is another guy that I can, listen to him talk about Zach Wilson all day. So there's a lot of hype around Zach. I'm trying not to buy into it because I did buy into it to Sam, and we know what happened with Sam. So I'm not really going to be hyped up about Zach until I see him take the field and show us. So what's your thoughts of, everybody around the NFL with their glaring opinions, whether it's the Colin Cowherd saying Zach Wilson's going to be crap, or it's someone like Phil Simms saying that he's going to be a star? Mike.
It's probably better for more people to say he's going to be a star.
Simms said it, not Phil. Chris Simms said it.
Oh, Chris Simms. I was going to say Phil Simms. It sounds like he has dementia, and he also created Matt Simms, who sucks. He created him.
Created him.
But Chris Simms, he has some weird takes also. Look, Zach Wilson, super talented. And the one thing is, so like the Jets drafted Sam 3rd overall, and it didn't work out with the Jets. Now, you draft Zach Wilson with the 2nd pick. These things are not related to each other, other than the fact that, obviously Zach replaced Sam, but like in a bubble, drafting Sam 3rd overall and drafting Zach Wilson 2nd overall means nothing in relation to each other. So you have the 2nd overall pick, you take a quarterback, you expect that guy to be insane. It doesn't matter that Sam was drafted 3rd. Like, it doesn't matter that Sam went to USC or the other guy went to USC and they all suck. It's the same thing. No quarterback came from BYU, so that we don't have that problem. But in a bubble, you have the 2nd pick. You take a quarterback who's highly rated. He comes down the preseason. He throws bullets. You have all these guys around the league talking him up. It's awesome. It's really good. He's a team captain to start his career when there were some weird character issues that aren't really true. So all good things so far. It's a very, very good offseason and preseason for Zach Wilson. And like you said, he's going to have to translate it to the field. Let's see what happens, but no one really knows. You have no idea, but it looks good so far.
It does look good. I think Jets fans should be very excited about this season. There's a lot to be excited for, especially for the future. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Hope you guys are enjoying your day right now. We got 76 people watching with 34 likes, guys. Make sure you come through and smash that thumbs up button. We greatly appreciate that. So we get as many Jets fans in here. We're going to end off the stream with the Jets Q&A later on. So you guys can ask us three any Jets-related questions that you might have. So staying on the topic with this Jets Panthers game, I want to see the Jets offensive game plan be all about pounding the rock. Now, I want to talk about with you guys the Jets running back room, because this is really interesting. You don't know who's going to send as number one running back. We know that this system is about the committee approach. Nobody's going to get, 30 carries a game. We understand that. We have 5 running backs on the active roster because they promoted Josh Adams. I think LaMichael Piron is dealing with an injury. He was limited today in practice. So if you had to guess out of all the running backs to be the most productive fantasy-wise, like who do you think is going to be the guy that's going to be getting the most targets in the passing game, the most carries, and be the most productive? Is it the veteran, Tevin Coleman, who understands the system more than anybody else, who's been with LaFleur in Atlanta to San Francisco? Is it year 3 Ty Johnson, who put on some weight and looks like a power, speedy back? Is it the rookie Mike Carter, or is it the 2 power backs? So who would you guys predict to be the number 1 running back by like midway through the season? Starting off with you, Matt.
I mean, a lot of people are really high on Ty Johnson. You mentioned his weight and his speed, the combination makes him very effective. I think when it comes to the running game, what I always look for is, does the offensive line get any type of push? So when you rewatch the 2009, 2010 season, you'll see off the line, you get a half yard forward. And once you get that, if we get one monster block, the running back is an automatic 5-yard gain. If they can do more after their carry, that's where you get those 10-yard gains. In 2 years, Le'Veon Bell might have had 3 to 4 15-yard rushes or more. Right?
I think his longest run was 19 yards.
It's almost impossible to be that bad. And Le'Veon Bell was not good on the Jets, but I do always give him credit that there was never a push. Instead of getting that half yard forward, you got that half yard to a yard back. And if our offensive line, and you want to run left and you want to run often with the group they have, if they can get that push, doesn't matter who is back there. Give me the automatic 3.5, 4 yards, and then who can do whatever after the fact, right? If Josh Adams and P. Ryan need to get you that 1 yard, get it. If Ty Johnson, Coleman, or Carter can get you that 15-yard run after breaking free, we need that. If I were to bet, I would say Ty Johnson and Michael Carter are the two dual threats. I'm not as high on Coleman as a lot of people. I just don't know how excited Tevin Coleman makes me. If a younger guy like Carter or Johnson can pop, I'm way more intrigued of that. And I'm a big Josh Adams guy. I tweet about it every week. The guy just gets 5-yard carries every down. It's unbelievable. So if you want to keep him on the roster and hide him from a team trying to claim him, I'm on board with that as well.
Yeah.
Go for it. The thing about Josh Adams is you might pick him to be the lead guy, but teams just don't give him the ball ever, no matter what. Even in preseason, like 3 or 4 carries at a time. I would bet Michael P. Ryan is the last guy to have out of those 5, even though 4th-round pick last year still has some upside. Tevin Coleman will probably get the benefit of the doubt at some point just because they'll trust him, but he was horrific last year. He averaged like 1.9 yards a carry. He only played 8 games. And then, like Matt said, Michael Carter and Ty Johnson are like those 2 guys who probably have the most intriguing skill set. We saw it in the preseason also, the ability to get, like Matt said, get those easy 5 yards if the line gives you that opportunity, but then bust a tackle, get around the outside, get 10, 15 yards a pop. I would also go with Ty Johnson, I think, but it will depend. Like if Michael Carter, week 1, has a great week, is like 12 carries for 70 yards, maybe you'll see in week 2 have more carries or vice versa. So the Jets will ride the hot hand. I'll bet that Ty Johnson will be the hot hand, but man, like 5 guys who could really, really run the ball. And before the draft, I was a little bit down on the Jets running backs. They didn't really do much at that position. They signed Tevin Coleman to a cheap deal, which is, better. You want to get a guy in a better deal, but then once you drafted Michael Carter, you say, okay, you have a real makings of a good running back committee. You brought back Ty Johnson and Josh Adams. Michael P. Ryan's there. Now you have 5 guys. You have five shots at the dartboard where one of these guys, maybe 2 of these guys stick and just kind of take over from there.
Yeah, man, this running back room is going to be really interesting. I see somebody in the chat saying East Meadow stand up. That's my hometown. What's good? East Meadow.
You got to stand up. What are you doing?
Yeah, you're right. Shout out to East Meadow, of course. So my take on this Jets running back room, I'm assuming you guys play fantasy, right?
Yes.
You guys
We're not communists. Yeah.
You guys notice that the Jets running backs that are getting drafted are Mike Carter and Tevin Coleman, and Ty Johnson's going undrafted in every single draft. And I would stay away from the Jets running backs in fantasy because you have no idea who's going to get the most touches. But I just find it interesting because everybody outside of Jets fans have no idea who Ty Johnson is. And us Jets fans are like, he's going to be the number 1 guy. He's going to get the most, production out of fantasy this year. He's going to be getting the most carries throughout the season. And around the NFL, it's like nobody knows who he is. Everyone's drafting Tevin Coleman. Everyone's drafting Mike Carter. So what's your thoughts of that, Matt?
Yeah, I have a very unique fantasy football take. It's not popular. I do it every year. I'm in 2 leagues. I can't stand it because I'm always looking at all right, I don't want my guy on the Patriots to do well, or Bills, or Dolphins. Once we get into week 8, I'm looking at the playoff picture, even though we're 2-6 at that time, trying to figure out what goes with what. And I just plug and chug away. I don't attack waiver wires. I don't trade a lot of people. But in my drafts last night, Ty Johnson went in the final round of a 12-team league and a ton of people. And that's the type of guy you want to throw on if you're in a 12-team league and your starting running back is James White. You might want to have a week where if he's not by, you got to have someone in there. So I think it's cool. I think the biggest thing I've learned in the fantasy drafts I've done is Corey Davis is not being drafted high enough from the amount of targets he's going to get this year. Elijah Moore in some drafts has gone ahead, even in non-keeper or dynasty leagues. I've seen go ahead of Corey Davis, which if they target him half the amount of times they did in the preseason, Corey Davis is an automatic number 1 guy. But I think there's a few exciting players on the Jets that you can take. The one guy is Crowder, right? Crowder, and every year I've been around fantasy football, he's usually a roster spot, maybe even throw him in the flex. He is very low on the radar this year, and that's because of the emergence of Elijah Moore.
Yeah, I'm actually coming out with a video tomorrow about the Jets in fantasy football and some players you should consider taking, some players you can consider staying away from. I have a problem. I have a sickness. I draft Jets every year. I'm in 4 different leagues, and I got Jets in all 4 of them. So that's why I lose a lot. But I've got 1 chip and 1 under my belt. I'm not complaining. Mike, what's your thoughts about the Jets fantasy? And do you have any Jets player on your team?
I drafted Ty Johnson in one of my leagues because I think he will be the guy. But in terms of people in the national media or in the national space not knowing who Ty Johnson is, and Jet fans thinking that he's like the number 1 guy in the team, it'll probably be somewhere in the middle. He'll probably have like 150 carries for 600, 700 yards and a couple touchdowns, just because of the way this offense is ran. To Matt's point earlier in the show, the Jets need to run more plays. Like, we are not used to the Jets having the ball. The Jets were like 20 or 30th and 32nd in terms of plays per game under Adam Gase the last couple of years, maybe 31st and 32nd, which is just garbage. And now I'm looking at, and Matt mentioned also the 2009 Jets was hilarious. They ran the ball 607 times and threw it 393 times. So I don't think it's going to be quite like that. But if the Jets are really going to ground and pound, someone's got to run the ball, and there should be some holes open. So I think Ty Johnson's the guy you want. Zach Wilson, I get, is rosterable, especially in like a dynasty league. You're not going to want any of the Jets' tight ends. Tyler Kroft, unless he ends up with like 8 or 9 touchdowns, probably won't be so valuable, even in a weak tight end field around the NFL. Corey Davis, another guy, but the Jets are 5 deep at receiver. If they're really going to use Keelan Cole like they did in training camp, you figure Denzel Mims is going to factor in somehow, and then you still have Crowder, Corey Davis, and Elijah Moore. We were talking with Michael Nani on our podcast last week about the personnel the Jets are going to run, and if the Jets go out with 2 receivers, 2 tight ends, and a running back, or 2 receivers, a tight end, a fullback, and a running back, where are these 3 or 4 or 5 receivers going to factor in? So while Corey Davis will probably play all the time on first and second down, where some of these other guys won't, if the Jets go 3-4 receivers on third down, how many targets are there going to be to go around for all these guys?
Yeah, it's really interesting to see what's going to happen in terms of the targets and sort of fantasy production, because I think this is the first time in a while that I think Jets fans can say this with confidence, that our offense might be better than our defense going into the season. That's never the case. The Jets have been a defensive-minded franchise for my entire life, and it's kind of interesting. Joe Douglas came in here, and he's like, I got to flip this narrative. The NFL is a different animal right now. The modern-day NFL, you need to have an explosive offense, but at the same time, defense does win championships, and I love that we are an offensive-heavy team right now with a defensive-minded coach, and that gives me optimism about the defense for the future, and we got so many young guys. Guys, we're going to take a quick break from the sponsor of this video, BetQL, and then we're going to break down the schedule, give you guys the schedule prediction on who is going to win, how many games are the Jets going to win, what is the record. So we'll be right back after the quick word from BetQL. Want to take an advantage over your sportsbook? You need to download BetQL, the only app you'll need to make smart bets. Their bets computer model scans over 350,000 unique bets per year to give you a best bet recommendation for every game across all major sports and gives you the reasoning behind why you should place the bet. Their model covers everything from spreads, over-unders, and player prop bets. Don't want to use the model and prefer to do the research yourself? BetQL has all the necessary tools for your betting research needs. Everything from sharp data, line movement, team summaries, lineup and injury breaking news, and even leaderboards to track your success. Head to the App Store or Google Play Store now to download BetQL. You can also head to try.betql.com/JetsMedia to get started now. Enter the discount code JetsMedia at payment checkout for 25% off of their subscription offerings. You could find all this information in the description of this video. Make sure to check out their BetMGM offer in the description in order to receive a free year of BetQL. Also, make sure you check out the Sportsbook offers page if you live in one of the eligible states to claim free offers upon signing up at one of the many sportsbooks listed. Don't miss out on your chance to beat the sportsbook this football season. So that's a word from BetQL. Thank you so much for sponsoring this stream. So let's get right into the schedule, boys. This is going to be a very interesting season for the New York Jets. And before we get into the schedule, I want to hear your guys' expectations for this Jets team. What would be a successful year? I think Jets fans have, a realization that we're probably not going to the playoffs. We're probably not winning the division. We're not going to the Super Bowl. Sorry to break that news to you. But at the same time, you never know what could happen. My expectations for this Jets team is to form an identity, to form a winning culture. And I want people to look at the Jets after this year and say, this team has a direction. They are a couple pieces away, a couple more really good drafts away from being a serious contender. And I feel like this is what it's all about. We know what the Jets are doing in terms of playing the youth. And I'm actually curious to hear your thoughts about this, Mike, because you are really adamant about bringing in a veteran corner. So we decided to cut Bless Austin, who is our most experienced cornerback, and the Jets are going full-blown. I want the rookies. I want the young guys to play because they have their mindsets for the future. And obviously, Jets fans, they're hearing that okay, this season is definitely going to be rough. We have really, really young guys all over the place on defense. And I feel like this year is the year for the Jets on offense and defense and special teams to form an identity. And the coaching staff is prepared for the ups and downs. They understand that it's going to have, there's going to be adversity. There's going to be a lot of it this year since we're such a young team. So, Mike, what's your thoughts of the Jets going in this season with the approach of playing all the young guys and just building this team for the future and your overall expectations for the season as well?
I'm going to be optimistic, and you'll see in my record prediction when we go through the schedule, but I am very frustrated with the Jets still at what they're doing at cornerback because why? It's inconsistent. The Jets went out and they signed Corey Davis. They signed Carl Lawson. They bring in Morgan Moses. CJ Mosley's back. It's like they have no veteran guys. So why are you punting a position? That's probably the second or third most position in the sport behind quarterback and maybe left tackle. You're going to punt cornerback. Edge rusher's up there too, but so very perplexing to me. You're going to go in. It's like they're on purpose trying to have the least possible amount of experience. Matt always tweets about the Jets have 2 years of experience combined for their whole cornerback group, excluding Justin Hardy, who doesn't really play on defense. So I'm very unhappy with what the Jets did there, and especially for this reason. So the Jets moved on from Sam Darnold to reset the quarterback clock and surround Zach Wilson with as much talent as possible. And the Jets still have some money left over, and they're just not using it. And they did the same thing last offseason. And it's super frustrating to me because you have 5 years under this rookie quarterback contract to win a Super Bowl is by all metrics the easiest time to do it. Your quarterback in year 3 or 4 starts to develop whatever. Even in year 2, we've seen other teams like the Ravens with Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes on the Chiefs and Carson Wentz with the Eagles. So all these teams won or went to the Super Bowl or won a lot of games with a really young quarterback, and they went all in. So when the Jets traded Sam Darnold, I wasn't happy about it. And I was assured that the Jets are going to do everything they can to surround Zach Wilson with every possible thing that they could do to win. There's no time to waste. It's a rush. And the Jets, you don't want to literally rush and sign all these older free agents, but use your resources. Don't mortgage your future. But why are you ignoring one of the most important positions? Very, very frustrating to me.
I see your frustration. Matt, before I give my thoughts on that, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, the Jets did all the hard things, and you can't fix everything in one off season. But you get a quarterback, you get a head coach, you get an offensive lineman piece, you get an edge rusher, you build out all the hard things, and you don't get a veteran corner or a backup quarterback. I don't agree with it, but
because they could have just done it. They just do it.
It's a simple move. When it comes to expectations, I hate to be that guy, and it could be a homer, it could be overly optimistic. I can't go into a year and not think we don't have a chance to compete for a wild card berth, and that's my biggest thing.
We do.
I'm not saying that they're going to make the playoffs. I'm not saying that they're going to win the division, but can this team compete to be one of the teams in the hunt at the end of the year? Right? You're looking at the graphic week 13, week 14. Who's in the hunt? I want the Jets to be on there, and the reason I say that is football is a very unique sport where you get 16 to 17 times to watch your team play for 3 hours, and half the time you're watching commercials and you don't have the football. So I want to watch this team week in and week out compete, and I don't want to be thinking we're 1-5 and all right, well, we have 4 picks in the top 50. We have all this money next year. I can't do it. I'm not that old. I'm 25, but I can't do it every year. So I'm fighting for this team every week to compete and be in the wild card hunt. And I truthfully believe if Zach Wilson is worthy of the number 2 overall pick, that there's no reason that the Jets can't be in that conversation come to the final 4 weeks.
And to just build off that one more thing, if you think the Jets are going to win like 6 or 7 games, and that it would be probably a successful season if some guys develop the way they're supposed to develop. If you think the Jets could win 7 games, they could literally win 9 games. Like it's a standard deviation of 1 or 2 games. The ball bounces a certain way. You're playing a team, their quarterback is hurt, yada, yada, yada. Everything goes your way. You win 9 games. So, like, for example, the 2013 Jets had a negative 97 point differential and went 8-8. So to say it's like, for the thing that bothers me, people say the Jets, I think they're going to win like 7 games, like not going to be competitive, like not going to compete for whatever. If you think they can win 7 games, then they literally can win 9 games. So,
and I made the point recently. If you look at the 2017 Jets, you would argue you would take every single position group from the 2021 Jets over the 2017 Jets. That 2017 Jets with their starter, Josh McCown, went 5-8. So if you're telling me that team can win 5 games in 13, all right, say this team can win 2 more games in a 17-game year, there's your 7 wins right there. We can get into the schedule. I'm not afraid of any team on the schedule other than the Buccaneers, the Bills, and maybe a little bit of the Titans receivers. Every other team, I'm not afraid. I don't think we're going to go into these games as double-digit underdogs. I think there's only 2 teams fully that I'm not happy that we're playing, and we play the Bills twice and the Buccaneers 1 time.
Yeah, man, we're going to get into the schedule, and my whole perspective of this whole situation with the cornerback room is, it's really interesting. It shows you what this tells me personally is this Jets regime is doing the polar opposite of what previous Jets regimes have done. Basically going full-blown play the young guys. They don't really want to go for the flash-in-the-pan quick fix. They don't want to go for the, okay, here's a stopgap veteran that will help out for this one season and help develop guys. They want to develop guys for the future because if they can, hypothetically, say a guy like Jamian Sherwood, a guy like Hamza Nasruddin or Brandon Eccles and all these rookies on defense, the only way these guys can develop is by getting playing time. And say, a couple of these guys really step up this year, and then we go into next season with the perspective of like, wow, these guys entering year 2. I think Jamian Sherwood's a starter in this league. I think Hamza's a starter. Brandon Eccles could be a starter, or maybe hopefully he's a role player. It's way too hype. You can't really put Brandon Eccles as in that category yet because he has not played an NFL snap. But what I'm trying to say is the Jets are trying to build a foundation and build like having really good quality players on their team with a really cheap contract. And I feel like they have so much cap flexibility to really go all in next year. And I'm happy they're doing this approach, honestly, because they're taking this season as an opportunity for all the young guys that the Jets front office brought in via free agency and via the draft to give them every single opportunity to shine. We drafted 10 guys in the draft class. I think 8 of them are starting. That's pretty insane. That does not happen usually. And I think it's going to be a really interesting season for the Jets. And I think Jets fans should expect, a lot of bumps in the road. And it's going to take a lot of time for this team to, understand their identity. But at the same time, it's a big test for Robert Saleh and the coaching staff to keep this team together and battle the adversity properly, because that's what's going to form an identity on the team.
I know, but they got to just do it already, because you could say the same thing last year. Look, we have Bryce Hall and Javelin Guidry and Quinnen and all these young guys that are going to be on the team this year. You say, now we have this base of guys. Let's supplement them with free agents. Let's do this and this and this. And of course, the Jets went 2-14 last year. What if the Jets go 3-14 this year? Now we have to do it all over again. We have to draft 10 new guys, start 8 of them, and fucking go in an endless cycle of bullshit. So whereas I'm happy where the Jets are being patient and building through the draft and doing things that normal franchises do, I want them to be more aggressive, and it has to be soon. I swear to God, next year, if we just punt edge rusher and have random 4 guys playing and say, oh, maybe these guys will be good in 3 years, I can't do it. Can't happen.
Yeah, it's a slow burn approach that we are not used to. McCagnon, even though he's faulted the GM for his draft picks, he made a lot of moves that the fan base wanted at the time. Some of them didn't pan out. Very few did. There's a doomsday scenario with the amount of rookies that are starting on defense. And that doomsday scenario is that, and I like Sherwood and Nasruddin, I like the young corners. There's a scenario where the Jets can't get off the field on third down. They're too young at corner. They're too young at inside linebacker. They're too young at edge. And yeah, they can stop the run, but can they stop a pass? And are we going to be sitting there with a time of possession of 24 minutes every game? I that's the biggest fear for me, because then you don't have enough time to properly evaluate the offense if you're down these games trying to come back. But, Richie, you made a good point. You need to see who is going to be a starter, and you need to see who can be a depth piece, right? So if you find out Sherwood's the guy who's going to play every down for this team for 4 to 5 years. Nasruddin, he's okay. He needs to learn a little bit more. He can be a backup, and we can find a guy in free agency or the next draft who can be another third linebacker. You learn that this year. I think what Mike is saying, if we keep learning that every year, we're going to go fucking crazy, because we need to produce. And honestly, I love Joe Douglas to death. He owns 2-14 as much as anybody in that organization. And I get that fans think he's the best GM ever. He's a very good GM. I like what he's done so far, but he had a full year to evaluate that 2019 team, and 2020, they won 2 games. And it obviously it can't get worse from here, but I need to pump the brakes that Joe Douglas is the Messiah right now. He's very good. I love what he's doing. I just need to see more production on the field, because the 2020 draft class, I think we're well aware, after Becton and Hall and Mann, and one's a punter, one's a guy that we hope can be a cornerback too, one's a franchise left tackle. There are major question marks around that draft.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, the one, problem with Joe Douglas was, it's not a problem, but it's so hard to assess him because he has such a long-term plan, and we just want to get to the end of that result to see if it's going to work out or not. And it takes time to get there. And that's the different approach that this Jets front office is taking. And he did own that 2-14 season more than anybody else. And that was terrible. And I really am hoping that Joe Douglas becomes an aggressive GM after this year, because we have so much draft capital. We have so much cap space to finally build this roster. And I feel like that's what's going to happen. If I had to guess, I feel like Douglas was maintaining his cap flexibility and maintaining this for the purpose of getting these young guys the reps. And now it's time to really go all in, because you're right, Mike. We need to win with Zach Wilson on a rookie contract. That's what winning organizations do. Josh Allen just happened. Obviously, he just got paid big time, but he's still getting paid his rookie contract for the next 2 seasons. Patrick Mahomes did it. Deshaun Watson did it. Lamar Jackson did it. Baker Mayfield. All these young quarterbacks are winning on their rookie contracts. So they do need to start winning, and they need to start winning fast. So I'm hopeful that that's next season. I've always had this approach going into this season of like, okay, this is going to be the year for this team to grow, form an identity, see who's going to be the starters for the future. And then they should be aggressive next year and go all in. And they should not have the same approach next year as they do this year, because that would be a problem. And I agree with that. So now we're going to get into the schedule, go over game by game. We're going to see, this is going to be fun. Who we think is going to win what game. We're going to argue, no, the Jets going to win this game. No, they're going to lose that game. And you guys in the chat are more than welcome to join in, of course. I want you guys to, comment down below or comment in the chat if we're going to win or lose. So we're starting off with week 1, of course. Everybody in the chat, win or loss. I see there are some Panthers fans in the chat, so we know where that's going to head. Mike, win or loss?
Jets are going to win week 1. Zach Wilson coming out party. I like Sam as a quarterback. Again, I'm rooting against him in this game, of course, viciously. I think the Jets are going to pull it out week 1. The offense is going to play well. They can't stop our defensive line. Quinn Williams is going to hurt somebody.
I love it. Matt, how about you, man? I'm 50-50 right now. When you ask me on Sunday, I'm going to say we're going to absolutely win. Right now, judging on where I have them at the end of the year and their upcoming games, I think I might chalk this one down as a tight loss. I think the Jets at +5 is a great pick. I think they're going to, if they lose, they'll keep it within 5, 3 or 4. It's a highly emotional road game. Again, if you lose to an NFC team, it's okay because the tiebreaker for the wild card is your conference record. So losing an NFC game is always less important than losing a normal AFC game. I'm gonna say they lose by 3, but again, I think they're gonna win. If I'm just looking at the rest of the schedule, I'll say they lose this one.
Yeah, man, it's such a toss-up. And when I started to do more research for my preview video to talk about the matchups, it's like, okay, so the strength for us is our defensive line against their offensive line. The strength for them is, their wide receivers against our cornerbacks. They have the best running back in the NFL who played 3 games last year, and in those 3 games was phenomenal. The only issue with the Panthers last year was McCaffrey was injured. And now you add Sam Darnold to the mix. You have Robbie Anderson, DJ Moore. They have a rookie wide receiver, Marshall, who they're very excited about. I think the key to success in this game is pretty simple. The defense needs to get to Sam. If we do not get to Sam and Sam has time to throw, I do not like our chances, because the formula for this Jets defense to win ball games is to get to the quarterback, because we understand that these corners are very young and they're inexperienced. And the only way that these corners can be bailed out is if we can get to the quarterback and they don't really have to worry about it. So we need Quinton Williams and Sheldon Rankins to absolutely dominate the interior, as well as Foley Fatukasi. We need Shaq Lawson to come through, John Franklin Myers, Bryce Huff. The Jets defensive line is the make or break point of this game, because if we're playing from behind, that's going to force Zach Wilson to throw the ball a little too much. We need to establish a run game, and the Panthers defensive line is pretty solid against our solid offensive line. So it's going to be interesting. I'm going to the game, so I'm going to put my bias cap on, saying the Jets are going to come out on top in this game with a very low-scoring defensive performance from the Jets with a score of 17-14. Oh, man, please let that happen. All right. On the week number 2, and this is a game that all 3 of us will be in attendance.
Yes, sir.
So we're going up against a rookie quarterback in Mac Jones against our rookie quarterback, Zach Wilson. The New England Patriots went all in. Bill Belichick did a crazy thing in free agency that we're not used to as Jets fans. He used to just be like, all right, I have Tom Brady. I don't really need to spend that much money. But now he does not have Tom Brady, and they missed the playoffs last year. So they went all in, signed a lot of guys. They have 9 players returning from opting out of COVID on their defense is going to be stacked. Bill Belichick pretty much never loses against the rookie quarterback. So, Mike, how you feeling about our home opener, man?
I'm feeling great about our home opener. We're going to be 1-0. The place is going to be rocking. It's going to be insane. I'm not scared of Mac Jones. He's a fat bitch, and I don't think the Patriots had as great of an offseason as people say. They spent a ton of money. They got a bunch of weird guys. They signed 2 tight ends for $50 million each who aren't that great. They get some guys back from COVID on defense. They have Bill Belichick. But I think our rookie quarterback is better than them. I think we're going to beat the shit out of them in our stadium, and it's going to be a statement win. The Jets are going to be 2-0. They're going to beat the Patriots for the first time since 2015. They're going to beat the Patriots at home with a rookie quarterback in week 2, just like 2009. It's going to be wild. It's going to be a coming-out party, and people are going to be pumped up after week 2. Come on.
Wow, like while you were saying that, I'm just like visualizing that as a reality of what would happen us leaving MetLife Stadium if we're like, say hypothetically we won week 1 and we're 2-0. I don't know what I would do. Matt, the Jets are 0-1 going into this game in your eyes. So what happens in our home opener?
Yeah, I think New England plays a tough Miami team week 1 at home against a tough cornerback group. Whatever happens in that game, I think now Mac Jones' first true road game coming to MetLife, top 3 fan base in terms of attendance, going crazy. I think the Jets win this game, and I think they win it pretty confidently, right? If they lose week 1, there's a little urgency behind this team and this game. I like it a lot. I don't think that the Patriots offense is very terrifying. Obviously, Belichick against a young rookie quarterback. I think LaFleur can simplify the game plan and get it done. So I have the Jets winning this one here.
All right, so Mike and Matt have the Jets beating the Patriots. Now, when it comes to me, I'm going to go, my shrivel up as my, pessimistic Jets fandom comes out of me. I just can't say with a straight face that the Jets can beat Bill Belichick after I've seen what he's done to our rookie quarterbacks like Sam Darnold, but Mark Sanchez got the better of him. Not gonna forget about that. But I don't know. I just have a feeling Bill Belichick is going to have a certain game plan defensively, and their defense, I feel like, is very underrated because of the opt-outs last year. Offensively speaking, I definitely think we have the more talented players. I don't think that they have a lot of guys offensively that's pretty crazy. But it's a divisional matchup. I think it's going to be a close game that goes all the way down to the wire. But unfortunately, I'm going to say the Patriots going to win this game. And listen, guys, if I say the Jets are going to win every week, we're going to be 17-0. So we're trying to be realistic here. I'm going to be as realistic as I possibly can. So in my eyes, the Jets are 1-1. In Mike's eyes, the Jets are 2-0. And in Matt's eyes, we are 1-1. So now moving on to week number 3, we go to Mile High against the Denver Broncos at a 4:05 matchup. So starting off with you, Mike, what happens in this game? We are 2-0 in your eyes.
Now watch this. 2009, the Jets again started 3-0, and again they're going to start 3-0. And this is how we look at this game. The Jets have Zach Wilson, and the Broncos have piece of shit Teddy Bridgewater. So I'm not scared of Teddy Bridgewater, and the Jets defense is gonna. It's a great matchup for the Jets on paper, especially on defense, because the Broncos have good receivers, but Teddy B is not known for throwing the ball down the field. He was horrific last year in close games. They lost 8 games by 1 score, and each time the Panthers had a chance to win the game, and Teddy B could not get it done. I'm not scared of that piece of trash. They don't have the Broncos' offensive line's okay. Their defense is solid, but it's not going to be an easy game on the road in Denver. Is always difficult, but I think the Jets are going to use their momentum before a tough Week 4 game against Tennessee and improve to 3-0. I'm not scared of this shit. Again, look at the quarterback matchups. Anytime you're playing a guy like Teddy Bridgewater, you have a chance to win the football game. Robert Saleh is going to keep us in the game, and Zach Wilson is going to win it for us. We're going to be 3-0.
Woo! All right, so we are 3-0. I'll never forget in 2009 being 3-0 with the rookie quarterback as I think I was 11 years old, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe what's happening. So Mike is really trying to replicate that 2009 season, and hey, all we have to do. I mean, I just realized we don't have the defense like that. But we have a rookie quarterback with a solid offensive line.
Hopefully he's better than Sanchez.
Yeah, if Zach is better than Sanchez, which I think we can say he will be, we're going to be in good hands. So Mike's Jets through the first 3 weeks, we're 3-0. Matt, what's your thoughts about this game against Denver?
Yeah, I think this is a trap game. I think, every game the morning of, I think we're going to win it. Like, that is objective. I think every morning we're going to win. Being objective here in early September, I think this is a tough game. I think going on the road east to west, while this is the Broncos home opener, as they have the Giants and Jaguars, kind of an easier schedule to start. They're on the East Coast both. They're finally getting home. I just always think it's a tough environment for a rookie quarterback to fly out cross country on a week where you're playing a very good defense and defensive head coach. I think they're going to lose this game, but I think they can keep it close. Again, I think the narrative will be the games aren't going to be blowouts. I think another thing is Denver's team coming last year. I know it's a different roster for both teams, but damn, they came to the East Coast and kicked the shit out of us. Even though it was a 12-point game, it was just a weird, strange game. I think that team is going to give us a little bit of fits, and I think we'll be 1-2.
All right, Matt's Jets are 1-2. I'm going to go into this game and say that the Jets will win simply because of the quarterback matchup, like Mike brought up. Teddy Bridgewater, I'm not really sold on him. I like Zach Wilson. I like his ability to really I think this is going to be Zach Wilson's explosion game. I think week 1, Zach is going to have a solid game. Week 2, he's going to have an up and down game. I think week 1 is going to be really good for Zach. And then week 2, he's going to be not as good. And then week 3, he's going to be outstanding. And I know Denver Broncos has a very good defense. I'm not discrediting them whatsoever. But I think Zach Wilson is the reason why we come out on top in this game. And we win. And the Jets are 2-1 in my eyes. So now moving on to week number 4, we go back home and versus the Tennessee Titans, who are a very good AFC team. Mike, the Jets are 3-0 in your eyes. How do they go against in this game?
This is a horrific matchup for the Jets. It really couldn't be worse. You have A.J. Brown and Julio Jones, just to torment our corners, and Derrick Henry to keep us off balance, and Tannehill has been terrific the last couple of years. The Titans' offensive line is still good. They have Roger Saffold. They have Taylor Lewan. They have Ben Jones. They have a lot of good guys. The defense it was the strength of their team a couple years ago. Now it's not. So Zach Wilson could have a good game. I don't like this game. I think the Jets are going to lose. I think it's a bad matchup. We're going to fall down to 3-1 and look ahead to week 5.
All right. So Mike gets the first loss of the season for the Jets against the Titans. So we're 3-1 in his eyes. Matt, I think you're 2-1 with the Jets. How do you feel about this game?
I'm actually 1-2, and I'm moving them to 1-3 here. I think this can be a game where we look at like the Ravens in 2019, where they had a better roster, outperformed, but we still played really well. And I think Wilson can have a good game here when he does have the football. I think the Titans will run the clock out, and then when they can on third downs, abuse our cornerback. So I have them. I'll try to make it quicker because I know we have a whole schedule to go through, but I'm gonna have them 1-3.
All right, 1-3. I think my Jets are 2-1. That's where I got confused. And this one I'm going to chalk up as a loss as well, but I think it's going to be a competitive loss. I think this is going to be a game where Zach Wilson is going to have to throw the ball a lot because we're playing from behind. And I think the Titans offense is going to have a field day. I think this is going to be the worst defensive performance from the Jets throughout the first 4 weeks, and they're going to put up like 30-plus points. And Zach Wilson's going to have to throw the ball a lot to try to play catch-up. He's going to put up a lot of numbers, but the Jets will lose this game, and they fall to 2-2 for me. Now we go all the way to London, to the UK. We're waking up early to watch the Jets versus Falcons, prime time, 9:30 a.m., I believe. So, Mike, what's your thoughts about this London game? Are you taking the trip there or what?
No, I'm not going to go to London, but I typically love the Falcons. I think that Matt Ryan is the most underrated player in like football history. So I think the Falcons are going to beat us in this game. Again, the offense with Matt Ryan every year throws with 4,500 yards, stays on the field. The Falcons will not, like they typically don't, they'll actually figure out how to get into the end zone in this game. The Jets will fall down to 3-2, but I don't think the Jets have lost in London in like a long time. They beat the Dolphins in 2015. They beat the Rams another year, like 2012. So good track record in London, but I think they're going to lose this game.
Interesting. Matt, how about you?
Yeah, I have them winning and breaking their 2-game losing streak. For some reason, I always think of the Falcons 2017 game, even though the Jets lost that game, that like weird rain game. They should have won. They played well. The Falcons have a good team, and I agree with Mike. Matt Ryan's a good quarterback. They have not young, but they have a handful of first-round picks around that offense. Even last year, they had, 10 first-round picks. They came down a little bit after Jones and no more Gurley, but I think the Jets, to Mike's point, the track record in London, I like them having a bounce-back win here against Atlanta.
So what's your record now?
We're at 2-3.
You're at 2-3. I think I'm at 2-2. Robert Saleh is not going to London and leaving with a loss. That's not happening. Robert Saleh is going over there, and he's going to pep up his guys. Zach Wilson's going to light it up. And this is where everyone's looking at Zach and like, okay, wait a second. We got something special here. And yes, I might be getting a little ahead of myself, but I really believe that this Jets team is going to go to London and beat the Atlanta Falcons. Not easily. This is going to be one of those games that's going to be a shootout. I think this is going to be the first shootout of the season for the Jets where they really cannot contain. They're not shutting them down, and both offenses are just exploding. The defenses are just shitting the bed basically, and I think that this is going to be Elijah Moore's breakout performance. I think Elijah Moore is going to have 2 touchdowns and 150 yards, and the Jets will win this game with a shootout with a score of 38-35 in London. That would be fun, and that would give the UK fans a lot of excitement as well. So my Jets are 3-2.
We're both 3-2.
Yes, my Jets are 3-2 entering the bye. I'll take that. All right, so now we are headed to Foxborough. Headed to Foxborough to versus the Patriots. Mike.
I think I'm going to this game, and I'm going to say the Jets are going to be on a 3-game losing streak, despite Mac Jones being a fat bitch and the Patriots having a lackluster offseason, even though everyone says they have a great offseason. I don't like going into Foxborough. It's tough to say the Jets are going to sweep the Patriots. It's tough to tell. I mean, if Mac Jones is not that great, you have a better chance at this point, but all things being equal, I don't think the Jets are going to sweep the Patriots. So I'll go the Jets are on a 3-game losing streak after their fun 3-game winning streak to start the year, and we are 3-3.
Matt, how about you?
Yeah, I have it as a loss. The Jets haven't beat the Patriots twice in the regular season since 2000. I think it would be unfair to put this roster ahead of them for both games. So
that's the dumbest stat ever.
Yeah, if you call out that, maybe you can flip this with week 2, but I think they're going to go 1-1, so I'll have it as a loss here and move them to 2-4.
All right, so the Jets are 2-4. They're 3-2 for me. I'm gonna have this as a loss as well. I think I have the Patriots sweeping the series against us this year, which hurts my heart to say. And the Jets are gonna be 3-3 now. There's really nothing else more to say. You guys hit on the nail. I don't really feel comfortable saying that my New York Jets can go to Foxborough, beat Bill Belichick, no matter who's the quarterback, no matter what the players are. It's Bill Belichick. I'm not writing him off until he proves otherwise. We only saw one season of a bad Bill Belichick, and they went 7-9 with Cam Newton, and we'll see what happens. So I'm honestly hopeful. Obviously, the Patriots don't look good this year, but I don't see the Jets beating them in Foxborough. That's for sure. So they are 3-3 for myself. They are 3-3 for you as well, Matt.
Yeah,
Mike.
I'm 3-3. Yeah,
Matt, you're
2-4.
2-4. Okay, so now we're going to week number 8. We're going back home to versus the Cincinnati Bengals.
Halloween, baby. Dress up nice.
Oh, this is on Halloween.
On Halloween, we're gonna feel good. The fans are gonna come out.
I didn't realize that.
It is sick. And actually, I think the last time the Jets played on Halloween, they lost to the Packers 9-0, but that was in 2010. They might have played since then. Regardless, I'm not scared of the Bengals. I like Joe Burrow. They have a good receiving core. They could probably move the ball against the Jets a little bit. Joe Mixon's talented, but until the Bengals prove anything, why shouldn't we beat the Bengals? So at home in our stadium, we just were on a 3-game losing streak. Zach Wilson's going to come out, light them up, 4-3, take it to the house.
Matt?
Yeah, I have a win here. I think if my team's 2-4, again, more urgency to win a game against a team that has a very roster. If you're the Jets and you look at these games objectively, these are games you have to win if you want to be a 7-win team. So I'm going to have them win it.
Yeah, I think this is a must-win for the Jets. They got to take advantage of these games because if they want to make noise in this season and defy their expectations, and you never know what could happen this year, guys. I know that I'm saying make your expectations low. We're not going to do a lot this year, but you never know. As a diehard Knicks fan, if I told you last year that the Knicks were going to be a 4th seed, I would say you are absolutely insane. So that just gives you an example that sports, you never know what can happen. But when it comes to versing the Bengals, they got to take advantage. They got to verse, year 2 of Joe Burrow. Their offensive line stinks. So take advantage of that and kill Joe Burrow. I don't want to hurt him. He is not a quarterback that needs to be hurt. I have nothing against Joey B, but make his life a living hell and make him, want to roll out of MetLife Stadium because the sack exchange is back, baby. All right, so now I'm losing track of mine now. Am I 4-3?
Yeah, we're both 4-3. Matt's 3-4.
4-3. Okay, now we're versing the Colts. This gives me throwback to last year's game. What's your thoughts, Mike?
Yeah, I like the Colts a lot. I think.
Oh wait, this is Thursday Night Football.
TNF, Color Rush. I think Frank Reich is a terrific coach. I actually like Carson Wentz more than most people. Colts are one of the better offensive lines in the league, which goes against our strength. T.Y. Hilton should be back by then. Jonathan Taylor is terrific. The Colts last year with Philip Rivers, I love that team. I love Philip Rivers. He never bothered the Jets. And I watched a lot of Colts games, and they gave him time to throw. And they ran a really good scheme, and that defense is really underrated. So I think the Jets are going to lose on Thursday Night Football to the Colts and drop to 4-4.
Like, why does that have to be prime time? Like, we got to get a win, Mike, on prime time. Matt, how about you?
Play well.
Yeah, I'm thinking back to prime time. We played Monday Night Football in 2015 against the Colts, and the Colts were favored strongly in that game, and the Jets came out of there with the win. I'm actually taking a win here. A big upset early on in the year. I think they take the momentum from the Bengals game. They translate it to a win here. This game you're not looking ahead to Buffalo. You know how good Buffalo is, so you want to take a moment here and really try to attack the Colts in this game. And I think this team can get it done. So I'm going to move it to 500.
All right. Now, my thoughts about this game. This is Zach Wilson's debut on primetime football outside of the London game. I don't know if that's considered primetime, but this is Zach Wilson's debut, guys, on primetime. And, Sam Darnold on primetime, I'll never forget all the excitement going into that Monday night game against the Patriots after Sam came back from mono and beat the Cowboys. That whole week, I'm like, the Jets are beating the Patriots. Sam's back, baby. And then we know what happened in that game. So
we were there.
Just don't. Oh, you were there. Okay. So don't see Ghost Zach on prime time. Just look like a solid quarterback. But in reality, the Colts are a really darn good football team. I think Carson Wentz is a very good quarterback as well. I agree with you, Mike. Obviously, we're in the minority. Majority of NFL fans don't see it in Carson Wentz. I remember watching him that MVP where he the Eagles won the Super Bowl and you got injured, I was like, wow, Carson Wentz is talented. He's going to be the future of this league. And then we all know what happened with Carson Wentz. So it's a question if he's going to stay upright. That offensive line is legit. Their running attack is legit. Their defense is legit. It's really hard for me to say the Jets going to win this game. I know that I said they will first off, but I'm going to, humble myself and say they're going to come out with an L, but a hard-fought one. So we are 4-4 heading to Week 10 against the Buffalo Bills. First time against the Buffalo Bills this season. Feels good not versing them Week 1. Mike, what's your thoughts about this division rivalry?
I think the Bills are a little bit overrated, and just for the fact that I don't know if Josh Allen is going to replicate 4,500 yards and 37 touchdowns again, especially if the Bills just don't run the football. They didn't run the ball at all last year. You saw it in the playoffs too. They had success with it, but I think you see a little bit of a regression from Josh Allen, but the Jets lose a close game. I can't pick the Jets to beat the Bills yet. But again, I'm not so scared of this team. The Jets played them tough last year twice. Those really the only 2 games the Jets actually played tough in some of the losses. So the defense is solid, but fuck them. But we'll lose a close game. We'll be 4-5, but it'll be at least not a disgusting game to watch.
Okay, I love that. And we're running on a time constraint right now, so we're gonna rip through the rest of these and just give win or loss. Everybody in the chat, you do it with us. We're going to just say win, loss, and then we're going to see the record at the end, and then we're going to get out of this stream. So, Matt, what's your thoughts? Win or loss, Week 10?
I think we lose a tough one here, to Mike's point.
So what's your record?
Right now, I'd be 4-5.
4-5. Mike, your record?
I'm also 4-5 after my nice start.
Yeah, I'm 4-5 as well. And I'm going to take an L to this one. No, actually, where are we home?
This is a home game. The Dolphins.
We're beating the freaking Bills at home. I don't want to hear all the Bills fans in the chat. We're splitting it with you guys. You will beat us in Buffalo. We are beating the damn Buffalo Bills. I can't stand you guys. I went to college all the way upstate, and I lived with Bills Mafia for 4 years, and this is my FU to you guys. We are beating you in Week 10 at MetLife Stadium. Okay, Week 11, Miami Dolphins, another AFC East matchup, and this is a home game as well. So win or loss, Mike?
There's a nice W waiting for the Jets. I'm not scared of the Dolphins either. I think Tua is trash. Brian Flores is becoming overrated. I'm supposed to just say win or loss, but it's a win. We're 5-5.
Matt?
I'm taking a loss here. I think they drop back-to-back home games against AFC East teams, and they lose.
All right, I'm taking a loss here as well, 5-5. And then the Texans, I hope we all say win, right?
What's the letter in the alphabet between V and X?
Assuming that's W.
W. 6-5, right, baby.
We're all 6-5. Matt, you're 6-5 because I am.
I'm 5-6 with this win, but I don't want to spoil what I'm about to do. But I might even say it. I think the Jets win 5 straight, and I'll tell you why. I think they win 5 straight. I think they start with after losing 2 straight games, they beat Houston, home against Philly, home against the Saints, in Miami, home against the Jaguars. And the reason I say that is every year there's always a stretch where people say they look back on the next year and say, well, what about that stretch that we had? I think the Jets win these games and get to 9-6 after these 5. Sorry if I jumped ahead, but that is my bold prediction.
That is sick. 9-6. Sign me the hell up. Now Mike, let's go 5 games at a time now.
Okay, so we're both 6-5 after the Texans game. I'm 7-5 after the Eagles game.
Okay, me too. We're beating the Eagles for the first time ever.
I'm 7-6. I think the Saints are good, so we're gonna lose to the Saints.
Lose to the Saints. I agree. The Dolphins.
Well, I already had us beating the Dolphins, so I'll say we lose. We're 7-7.
I say we beat the Dolphins. We're gonna split the series with them.
So you're 8-6. I'm 7-7.
Oh shit! I gotta.
Yeah, that's true. I'm 8-7 after we beat the Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence is a Jesus-loving maniac.
And I'm going to beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. So I'm 9 wins right now. And then Matt, where are you at with the Bucs?
This is what happens, right? So I think they win 5 in a row, and I gave them a lot of losses early on. I was more of the pessimistic guy. They're 9-6, and I think they're going to finish 9-8. That would be my prediction. But remember, the energy that we would have if this team is 3 games above 500 with 2 to play, and again, if Tampa locks down that 1 seed or division, maybe they sit their starters because the NFC South is very weird, and the Bills are in position to potentially sit their starters in Week 18. So you can make the argument that you're playing 2 teams that are maybe under appreciated because of the team that they have put out. Even if in that 5-game stretch the Jets go 3-2, you're a 7-7 football team and you can win the final 2 weeks against teams that might be sitting their starters. Pretty damn cool. I'm going to go 9-8.
That's interesting. I love that take. I think I'm 9-8 as well because I'm taking the Buccaneers as a loss and the Bills as a loss, even though the Bills could be sitting their starters, and that can be a game we escape with a victory. If we are in or out on the playoffs, we don't know. So I'm 9-8. Mike, were you 9-8 as well?
I was going to be 9-8. I was going to say we lose to the Bucs and then only beat the Bills if their starters are resting. I can only predict that. So I was 8-7 after the Jags game. Tough end of the season. But let's go 9-8. Let's sneak into the playoffs. But look, this is actually very doable. It's not like we just said crazy things.
Yeah, and it's crazy, guys, because you guys know me. I was always saying, like, tame your expectations. You know, probably not going to win a lot of games. And here I am saying we're going to win 9 damn games because I'm a Jets fan, and I don't care about what anybody has to say. We're going to defy the expectations, shock the world, baby. Mike, Matt, I really do appreciate you guys tuning in and joining in the Jets Media live stream. Anything you guys want to say before we head out of the stream? Mike?
Dude, even though I just predicted 9-8, the Jets are going 10-7. I usually say that on our show. So, but no, I'm super excited just because I'm annoyed the Jets don't sign a veteran corner. I still like the young corners. I still like the young guys. I'm super excited for these guys. I think it's going to be a really good draft, and I'm pumped up for the year, man. It's in a few days. We're going to have a ton of beer. We're going to have some wings, some pizzas. Watch the Jets. You're going to be at the game. It's going to be fucking awesome. Come on.
I get a pit in my stomach every time you say I'm going to be at the game. Matt, how about you, man? Anything you'd like to say before we get out of here?
No, I think Jets Twitter and all the Jet fans had a really, really great time this summer. We kept it in. We had a good time putting out content. Everyone seemed to be on the same page, and now we can finally watch games together. Even if someone does not have the same take as you, you know, you can still agree to disagree. I think there's been very good discourse on Twitter, and I just love being a part of this fan base, and I think when the Jets find a way to turn this around and win football games, we will appreciate it so much more than any other fan base could possibly have. So I can't wait to get back to that winning platform.
Jets Twitter, Jets Nation, we are passionate. That's why we are toxic at times, because we care so darn much. Once again, thank you for our sponsor, BetQL, the only app you'll need to beat your sportsbook. Find their promotion code down below in the description to get 25% off. That is it for the stream, guys. Stay tuned. The AFC East Roundtable is back tonight on Dan Mitchell's channel. I'll be debating about the Jets, Bills, Patriots, and the Dolphins. So make sure you guys stay tuned tonight, 9:30 on his channel. And you guys know where to find us down below in the description. Make sure you check out Mike and Matt. Their podcast and their Twitter accounts are down below. Let's go, Jets!